Hey, real quick question before we get started. What would you say to a close friend who just made a big mistake? Maybe they bombed a presentation at work, or said something they regret, or just feel like they're falling behind in life. Chances are you'd be pretty kind about it. You'd say something like, "Hey, you did your best. Everyone messes up. You'll get through this." Now, what do you say to yourself when you're the one who messed up? Yeah, that's a different conversation, isn't it? Most of us have a voice in our heads that is brutal, clinical, relentless. And here's the uncomfortable truth that science keeps proving over and over again. That voice, it's not making you better. It's actually making you worse. Being hard on yourself is not a virtue. And today, we're going to talk about why.
We live in a culture that pretty much worships self-criticism. Be harder on yourself. No excuses. Push through it. There's this deep, unspoken belief that if you cut yourself any slack, you'll go soft, you'll lose your edge, you'll stop trying. And because of that belief, millions of people are walking around treating themselves like an enemy and wondering why they feel so anxious, so burned out, so stuck. The research on this has exploded over the last 20 years, and the findings are consistent. Self-criticism doesn't sharpen you, it shrinks you. Welcome to Calm Science, where we take the best research in psychology and neuroscience and translate it into something you can actually use in your everyday life. I'm really glad you're here.
Today, we're going to unpack what self-compassion actually is, because it's not what most people think. We'll look at what happens inside your brain and nervous system when you're being self-critical versus self-compassionate. And then we'll get into the real question. Does being kind to yourself actually help you perform better, or is that just wishful thinking? Spoiler alert, it's not wishful thinking, but let's build up to that. Let's start with something that probably sounds familiar. You make a mistake, doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you said the wrong thing in a meeting. Maybe you overate, or skipped the gym, or forgot something important. And immediately, before anything else happens, there's a voice. You're so stupid. Why do you always do this? Other people don't struggle with this. What is wrong with you?
And here's what's interesting. Most people think that voice is motivating them, like it's some kind of internal coach keeping them accountable. But if you had a real coach who talked to you like that every single day, you'd quit. You'd walk off the field and never look back. So why do we put up with it from ourselves? Here's where the neuroscience gets really interesting. According to psychologist Paul Gilbert, self-criticism activates the brain's threat defense system, the same ancient circuitry that kicks in when you're in physical danger. When you beat yourself up, your amygdala, the brain's alarm center, fires up. Cortisol and adrenaline flood your system. Your body literally does not know the difference between a lion chasing you and your own inner critic. Neuroimaging studies back this up hard. When people engage in self-critical thinking, fMRI scans show activation in the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex and the insula, regions associated with pain, fear, and social rejection. The brain registers self-criticism the same way it registers being physically hurt or publicly humiliated.
And here's the kicker. That chronic cortisol spike, it impairs memory. It degrades decision-making. It literally narrows your thinking. So the more you beat yourself up, the less capable you become of solving the very problem you're criticizing yourself about. You're not motivating yourself, you're running in circles. But here's where it gets good, because the opposite response, self-compassion, doesn't just turn off the threat system, it activates something completely different. And this is the part most people have never heard. Dr. Kristin Neff at the University of Texas, she's basically the pioneer of self-compassion research, describes self-compassion as having 3 core components: self-kindness, a sense of common humanity, and mindfulness. But what she and other researchers have found is that when you practice self-compassion, you're actually tapping into the brain's caregiving and affiliation system.
This system runs on oxytocin,
The same hormone released during physical warmth, close connection, and moments of being truly comforted. When you treat yourself with kindness during a hard moment, your brain releases oxytocin, your parasympathetic nervous system activates, your cortisol drops, your heart rate variability, a key marker of nervous system resilience, actually improves. One UC Berkeley study found that just 20 seconds of supportive self-touch per day, like placing a hand on your chest when you're stressed, done consistently for a month, was enough to significantly increase the habit of self-compassion. 20 seconds. That's not a lifestyle overhaul. That's barely a commercial break.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, but if I'm easy on myself, won't I just stop trying? When I lose my drive? It's a fair question, and the research has a pretty clear answer. A 2012 study by Juliana Brains and Serena Chen, published in Personality and Social Psychology, showed that people who practiced self-compassion after a failure were actually more motivated to improve, not less. They spent more time studying after doing poorly on a test. They were more willing to acknowledge their mistakes. They showed more moral growth after ethical failures. Self-compassion doesn't lower the bar. It changes the reason you reach for it. Instead of trying to improve because you feel inadequate, which is exhausting and fragile, you try to improve because you genuinely care about yourself and want to grow. That's a completely different fuel source, and it burns a lot cleaner.
Neff's own research shows that self-compassion is a stronger predictor of emotional resilience, life satisfaction, and motivation than self-esteem. Self-esteem depends on feeling good about yourself, which means it collapses every time you fail. Self-compassion doesn't require you to feel good. It just requires you to be kind, even when things go sideways. I want to leave you with something that I think cuts to the heart of all of this. We spend so much of our lives waiting to be kind to ourselves. We think, when I finally lose the weight, I'll feel good about my body. When I get the promotion, I'll feel worthy. When I stop making so many mistakes, I'll deserve a little grace. But that's not how it works. Kindness isn't a reward you earn after you've fixed everything. It's the condition under which healing actually becomes possible.
Think about it this way. You would never tell someone you love, "I'll be gentle with you once you've figured yourself out." You'd be gentle with them precisely because they're figuring it out, precisely because it's hard, and you deserve that same generosity. The inner critic isn't protecting you. It never was. It's a survival response that got pointed inward. And you, at any moment, in any ordinary day, have the power to redirect it. Not by becoming soft, not by lowering your standards, but by choosing to meet yourself the way you'd meet someone you truly love. With honesty, yes, but also with warmth. That's not weakness. That is, quietly, one of the bravest things a person can do.
Before you go, I want to ask you something, and I genuinely want to know your answer. What does your inner critic sound like? Is it loud? Is it quiet but constant? Does it sound like someone from your past? Drop it in the comments below. You don't have to share every detail, even just one word that describes it. Because I think when we name these things out loud, they lose a little bit of their power over us. And if today's episode gave you a new way of thinking about yourself, even just a small shift, then you're exactly the kind of person Calm Science was made for. If this perspective has helped your mental well-being, come join the Calm Science community. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and let's keep exploring the science of feeling more like yourself, one episode at a time. I'll see you in the next one. Take care of yourself, and I mean that literally.